So, huge welcome to my lovely friend David Maria, and just a shout out to my peacock background because I really love it. And I've noticed, David, too, there's an alignment happening here because I've got my peacock necklace with peacock colors and my peacock scarf that's actually got peacocks on it. And I don't know if you can see, but it's really beautiful.
Yep, it
And a
is.
friend gave it to me. And then the peacock background, and the peacocks represent the divine feminine. So there must be something there in that for our talk today. But I wanted to introduce David to everyone again. We have, chatted previously because David has just been running a course for 11 weeks called Freedom from the Known, which quite a few of my community have participated in. And it has been a beautiful, enlightening course with wonderful content that really accelerates and empowers your evolution. And it's been very, very beautiful to not only do the work, which has been wonderful work that I haven't done before, unique work, but it's also been an incredible bonding opportunity for the group. And I know you've mentioned that whenever you do these classes, the people that come together form an incredible cohesive unit. And, you can really feel that heart connection. And that's what people are wanting at the moment. They're wanting, connection and heart connection. So it's been a very beautiful experience. And today we're going to share some more, wisdom and information from David, and also talk about he's got a free class that he's going to offer for people just to experience David and his energy, and if people are interested in joining his next class that's coming up. So huge welcome, David. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Medina. As always, it is such a pleasure to be with you. I always enjoy being in your presence. And yes, I enjoy seeing you just proudly just letting your peacock fly. And the only shirt that I have today is a new pink one that I have.
Well, that pink is a divine feminine color, so that's all good.
So we're look behind me. How many statues of Kuan Yin are there?
Exactly. That's so true.
I seem to be obsessed with them.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And
Obsessed is not the right word.
there has been actually prejudice against the peacock too, because there's that suspicion that if you have a peacock feather in your house, it creates bad luck. And I think that's a patriarchal energy that's gone against the divine feminine myself. But anyway, that's a whole story. But David, welcome, welcome. So today I'd love you to share a bit more about the work that you're doing, your experience working with people, what you've been sharing. Take the floor.
Thank you, and welcome everybody that's watching this interview. For those that don't know me, I had a major awakening in 2018. I've had others, but this was like a destiny awakening, and it happened to be in Africa. And what has eventually come out of that is a series of transmissions that began as individual classes. Now they're 11-week and growing courses. So on anybody's path of remembering who they are, which is another way of saying awakening, because that's all we're doing is remembering who we are. You have to let go of everything that you know. And I don't mean that slightly. I mean that really, really seriously. If you can say serious about spiritual work, you have to let go of everything that you know.
So globally, we have to let go of everything we know anyway, because we're finding out and discovering that a lot of the information that we've been taught and programmed to believe has been false. So not only is that the natural process of spiritual evolution to surrender and let go, but it's also actually part of this process of empowering ourselves as sovereign beings and moving beyond where we've been, because so much of the information we've been taught has been incorrect.
Yes, it's all the same work. It's all the same work. It's just in this particular case, it's work that each individual gets to do on themselves. And when I say forget everything that you know, you've heard me say this many times that lately that I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. And there's some days that I don't know when I am.
That's because your individuality, your ego self is dissolving into
It's
the unified
it's
field.
it,
And
it
so,
is it is seriously dissolving.
yeah.
And sometimes it's really fun.
Mm,
Other times not so much.
yeah.
The other times it's confusing.
Yeah.
As I mentioned a little while ago, I was doing some scheduling work and I couldn't get it to work. And all of the programs that I use, it just wasn't working. And that's because I was looking at scheduling the class in one case in 2024 and another case in 2023. And I had slipped between those and hadn't noticed it. So
Well, you're bridging between different worlds, aren't you? Like the 3D reality and this more evolved reality that we're going into, where those sorts of things won't be a consideration because it will be beyond all that. So you're sort of trying to navigate both areas at the minute.
I'm still grounding in it, as I like to say. So out of that awareness came the major course that I offer, which is freedom from the known. And it's not really difficult. It's actually very, very simple as you take off all of the artificial layers, all of the artificial beliefs, all of the artificial, I've been told this, all of the artificial, this is the way it is, all of the artificial, religion says this is true, and something else says that's true. What you discover underneath is you as you has always been, and that you delightfully you discover has not only never been separate from the creator, whatever word you want to use for the creator, whether it's God or source or anything else, that word is an attempt to describe something that is completely ineffable. And it's not a thing, it's not something, it's it's indescribable. There is no word that you can use, but you discover not only have you never been separate from that awareness, from that consciousness, from that divine love, that's who you really are.
Yes, I guess the closest thing that most people could relate to when they um, try to understand what that means is that feeling of divine, unconditional love. That's the core of it, isn't it?
It always at the core, there is this unbelievably deep sense of peace. And it's not a peace that it's a peace that you become. You become that peace. And that peace is, in essence, complete and total unconditional love. And I do mean unconditional. So I talk a lot on this process of letting go, that there's so much that everybody is carrying.
Mm. I was trying to stand up for the school children on the island because they were spraying Roundup around and glyphosate, and I was in contact with the school, and I said, this is not good. And then one of the people involved with that was telling a friend of mine, and they're like, "Oh, that Medina, she's da 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 da," because I was trying to tell them that this is a poison and it's highly toxic for children and it shouldn't be sprayed around. And there's all this judgment in me trying to help. And I find that out in the world there's just so much judgment all the time, and people could be trying to do things to make a difference and to improve the world, and yet judgment. People have to let go of all that criticism and all that judgment, which stems from a lack of self-forgiveness and self-love. And that it comes from a self-criticism and self-judgment. It's just being reflected out into the world. And so that I find that that's a really important component of moving ahead in our evolution, is to just surrender and let go of this huge aspect of judgment and criticism of others.
So thank you. And I often speak of and share with people that come to the classes, can you forgive the unforgivable? Because really and truly, I love Sri Aurobindo's quote, where somebody asked him, how should I treat others? And he just laughed and said, there are no others. There aren't. That may not be your particular reality in this moment, but ultimately that's true. Ultimately, there's only one being that is here. There's a lot of us as individuals with our quirky personalities and whatever it is, but still, that's who we are. Is we are that oneness. So when you're talking to the school district, you're really at one level, you're talking with yourself. You're having a conversation, not with another, but with a part of yourself.
I've always had that inherent knowing, so that there in every step of my existence is an awareness to be kind, because when you're kind to others, you're kind to that oneness, which is yourself anyway. So ever since I was little, I always had a sort of an unconscious inner knowing that kindness was the way, because of what you've just said.
And at the same time, when you are completely grounded in your knowing, in your knowingness of who you are, just think of Yeshua. Yeshua was completely and totally grounded in who he was when he went through and just completely overturned all of the money changers' carts. Yeah. He was totally centered in who he was. So I don't recommend that everybody go out and start doing that, because I know that everybody is not completely and totally grounded in who they are.
Do you think that he knew the extent of darkness that was on the planet at that time? When
of course.
He did. He knew all that. Yes. He would have an all-knowing, I guess, an all-knowingness of everything.
How many people really heard the message of that he brought? How many people today really know that when he said, you will do even greater things than I, what that meant? The only way anybody can do greater things than the Christ is to become the Christ. Yeah. So his message was not worship me, was follow me, and you will discover who you are. And he came to show us how to do it. And of course, we completely blew that one.
Yes. Well, I think one of the greatest gifts that you bring is a great presence. It's like a sense of stillness or beingness. And I know that you talk a lot about the importance of just being. You don't have to do anything. It's about presence and beingness. So speak to that, David, please.
Well, in essence, there is work that we can do. There are things that we can do to improve ourselves, quote unquote. There are things that we can do to help ourselves along the path to remembering who we are. And probably the single greatest thing that we can do is go somewhere out in nature and just sit and just be still and not do anything. Just be present. If your thoughts are just going, let them do that. That's part of being present in this moment. You can't force your brain to slow down. You can't force your thoughts to stop. It's just at a certain point they will do that naturally.
I think the more that you're going with all those thoughts and the more they're coming up, the more that you need to do that practice and just practice that stillness and that beingness and that connecting and grounding. Yeah.
And that's an expression of meditate for half an hour every day. And if you don't have enough time to do that, then meditate for an hour.
Yes. I love that. Yep.
So in essence, there really isn't anything that we need to do. Yes, there are practices that we do, but sooner or later you arrive at the place to where you do thoroughly understand. I can't make this happen. There's 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 nothing that I can do to make any of the next stages in my awareness growth to make them happen. All I can do is nothing. And I say that ironically because the first thing that comes into my head is, who is this I that you speak of, David? Because there isn't. There isn't an I in there.
No, no. You know what works against that is the whole matrix system. So, for some of us, we have the luxury of being able to do that and be in the present moment. But for others, they're so focused on survival and earning an income and having money to pay for their bills that they feel they don't have the luxury to go there. They're just on the treadmill, trying to you know meet their basic needs, basically, food, shelter, whatever. So I think that is what people have been up against in terms of this evolution. I mean, it's been set up so that by the dark, so that it becomes more of a challenge to be able to be in the space where you can let all that go and just trust and be in that stillness.
And you know that I don't go there. A lot of what you just conveyed, that it's set up by the dark, that's just victim consciousness.
Right.
And there isn't a single victim here on the planet, not one. Every single person here, whether they remember it or not, consciously chose before they took birth where they would take birth, what lessons they wanted to use, what family they were going to be born in. We made every single choice ourselves. And they're inside every single person. There's a little very quiet alarm clock that was programmed by us, by each one of us. And at a certain point, it's going to go off in each person and it's going to start going, time to wake up, time to wake up. And only it doesn't mean wake up, although it is exactly the same as waking up from sleep. And it doesn't matter what we're doing. Look at somebody like Jim Carrey, who was a comedian, extremely successful in the movies. And one of the things that he said that I just love is that everybody should experience having fame and incredible wealth to know that that's not going to make you happy.
Exactly.
And now he paints, and he's just in consciousness.
Yes. I think that's a really great point. That's why I brought up that whole matrix thing, because it's like everybody can get there. It's just a matter of perception and how you perceive things. David, my little puppy's desperate to go outside and do a wee. Can we just hold it for a second while I let him
Yep,
out?
we can.
Thank
We's
you.
are important. We's are important.
That's true. I'll just be a minute. Hold on. So, David, could you tell us a little bit more about what you think the courses are able to, I mean, I know you've spoken about it already, but what you think the courses are able to give people in terms of their spiritual growth and their growth on all levels, really?
Wow, well, it's not so much that the classes are able to give something as each individual person that's attending being able to receive. So what happens in the classes is what happens with with any with anybody that shares classes like this, that shares meditative classes, is that it begins to dissolve the layers of our conditioning, the layers of each person's condition, and they're both the same and completely different. The specifics are the same in terms of what each person has arrived at, what they experienced, what they went through, but qualitatively they're exactly the same. They're levels of trauma, levels of conditioning, levels of beliefs, et cetera, whether those beliefs are familial, ancestral memories that we're still carrying, that come down to us through our ancestral line. Some of the ancestral lines are phenomenally difficult, and I'm being really, really nice. Yeah, it's the nicest word that I could use. Some of our conditioning is cultural, where we're born. Maybe it's a country, maybe it's a religion. Whatever it is, that we inherit an immense amount,
Yeah.
and we accept an immense amount because that's normal. I mean, just stop and think of the ridiculousness of the fact that we have normalized war on this planet. That it's normal in every country's consciousness, and people are in the collective consciousness of their country. So the class strips all of this away, or it provides tools, is a better way of expressing it. It provides meditative tools and practices to be able to go through and strip those layers away, whether that layer is fear or pain or lack, whatever it might happen to be, no matter what the source of it, in all the ways that I've already mentioned. And basically, all we're doing in the course of the class is lifting those layers, or providing the opportunity for each person to go as deep as they can in lifting those layers and letting them go. And they discover the phenomenal, bright, luminous being that they are.
How much do you think the challenges that people have experienced in their life, and this again is talking about there are no victims, how much do you think the challenges in our lives have contributed to us really moving ahead in our consciousness?
But I don't know that any trauma really projects us into the future of who we're going to be. But the more difficult the ones that you come through, when you do come through them, those people tend to be the most compassionate people that you'll meet, because they've been through it, and they know how difficult it is. My story is not easy.
I know, yeah.
Not easy at all. And my story is nothing compared to some of the stories that are out there.
Yeah.
If you think about any of the indigenous cultures, any of the cultures that were sold into slavery, like almost all Africans were sold, or a vast proportion of them were sold into slavery. And those are difficult things to walk through, but they can be walked through. I promise you. Speaking from experience, and doing this work for as long as I have been, and working with individuals that carry phenomenally deep racial and cultural trauma, that is it, like I said, can you forgive the unforgivable? And it is possible. I don't care what it is that anybody has experienced. You can walk through it. You can shed it, you can let it go, and you can emerge just like a butterfly from the chrysalis of your old self.
Sure. This leads me to my next question, which is, how much is the dream state contributing? You know, when we go to sleep and we dream and we working on that different level. Tell us your take or your perception on what the dream state is and what that means.
You and I are dreaming right now.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Tell us more.
And in that dream, you and I are having a conversation about the dream state. When you when any person falls asleep, some people just they lay down and they're able to just like that go to
I'm
sleep.
pretty good at that.
So what is really going on when you go to sleep is that you begin to journey into higher and higher frequencies of states of consciousness. And at the point to where you no longer can maintain staying awake in that frequency, no matter what the vibration is, that's when you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Some people, it might take hours to fall asleep. Others sleep very, very, very little. Others kind of sine wave it like this. They dip in and out of waking consciousness and then going back to sleep. But no matter what it is, this is a fabulous dream that you and I are in the middle of right now. Your dream is in Australia. My dream is here. It doesn't matter how beautiful the dream is, or like it's been, not quite so pretty. It's still a dream. And there is a much deeper aspect to it.
So as we raise in frequency and consciousness and we sort of ascend in our energies, there'll be no need for shifting states like that and going into a dream state, will there be? And we will just maintain the same state of a higher frequency anyway, won't we?
I have absolutely no idea. None whatsoever. It hasn't proved to be true to me at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again, I'm not done cooking.
So what do you think your greatest gift to the world? And I know you're a very humble person, so you probably won't want to answer this question, but I'm going to push you. So, what do you think your greatest gift that you bring to the world at this moment is?
Just being in presence.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
that's what
being
I thought.
present in the moment. I'm here with you. I could be like most people. I could be thinking about all of the other things that I have to do this evening or tomorrow, but I'm not. I'm just here with you. I'm just present in this moment and sharing that energy of what it is to be in that presence, to be in that state of consciousness, and just sharing it with you and with all of the listeners that will watch this video when it's done and it's been published. And that's the greatest gift that we can give each other, is just our presence.
Yeah.
You've gone through the Freedom from the Known course. You know what it's like when a group of people come together and they form a circle. So the circle has no beginning and no end. It just is.
Mm.
And everybody's presence comes together, and that makes something brand new that each individual would more than likely not be able to do on their own.
It's very meaningful and substantial in the sense that, you know, we go through life and so much of what we've experienced in the 3D reality has been superficial. You know, there's a lot of superficiality, but when you do something like that, you know, and you're connecting with others at that really that heart level, there's this a deep, meaningful, sort of deep, substantial connection where you're bearing your soul in a sense, and you're sharing these deep truths that you're feeling. That is where there is great joy and great sort of satisfaction that you're connecting at a level that is beyond what the world encourages it to connect. Because the lifestyle, I know, in Western countries is just so fast paced. It's shallow. Its connections are sort of on the surface level, and so anything that goes deeper like this is very profound, I think.
I wholeheartedly agree. when you can, whether it just happens or whether you've done it so many times that it becomes your very nature, when you merge into that source and into oneness, and there are no words to describe it, you know it, you know that you're there, even if it's just for a little while. And most people, whether they remember this or not, they slip into that state frequently, maybe just for a flash of a second. But we've all experienced that. And I do mean everybody.
You're talking about that sense of oneness with all things, all beings.
Even you just slip into that state of consciousness where you're merging in oneness with the Creator, and you're remembering that that's who you are. And then at the exact same time, there's still the desk that's in front of me. There's still the computer that has this monitor that you can see me through.
Your beautiful amethyst cave behind you.
So it's even though it seems like it's a complete dream, and it is a dream, and it seems like it's all another form of duality, it's not. Because at the level where you completely merge like that, then there is no separation anywhere. And it doesn't matter what the dream is manifesting. We're fully into the beginning of the age of Aquarius, where it's been prophesized that we'll have at least 10,000 years of peace and a golden age.
That was my next question. I was going to ask you about
and that's fabulous and so needed. Everybody is so tired of the old way of doing things. And no matter how gloriously beautiful that will be, and it will be gloriously beautiful, it's still a dream. There's something beyond. There's something beyond.
So this new beautiful dream that you're talking about, that we're going to the golden age, tell us about your feelings about what's happening at the moment, and how this is morphing into this new space, even though it is within a dream. Tell us about your feelings on what you're feeling is happening at the moment, and how things are changing.
And everybody can see this just if you open your eyes and look around. The old, very, very, very toxic reality is collapsing. It may not be collapsing in complete and total chaos. It seems to be a little bit gentle, if you will, but it is collapsing, and it has to collapse because it's completely and totally unsustainable. We have been living our lives as if the earth was an endless source of resources for us to take as much as we want. rather than we live on the earth rather than living with the earth. There's no sense of harmony in terms of the way that we live, none whatsoever. And we, as cultures around the world, we seem to create great joy in creating wars and killing people. And that just it just can't be sustained. It has to collapse. And that means everything is going to shift. What that's going to look like, I honestly can't tell you from my perspective. I see a completely different reality, a completely different version of the earth. And those people that want to continue to act in the old way and do that, well, they can repeat the third grade again if they like. In an environment just like this, they'll continue their evolution. And those that are ready to make the shift or are ready to begin to be able to make the shift, because there's many people now that are just beginning to wake up.
Do you
And
feel there's a lot of that happening where there's a real awakening on the planet in consciousness? What's your thoughts on that?
this shift is happening because enough people have done the initial very hard work at changing their consciousness and in remembering who they are, in waking up. And it's not a lot of people in terms of the 9 billion plus that are on the planet now, but it's enough. Enough people have shifted that it has shifted the foundational vibration of the collective. And one of the very first things that happens to the average person when they take birth is they forget who they are, and they disconnect from their access to multidimensional reality, to the greater universe and universes at large. Those veils have been lifted, not on every single person, but the ability to go past them, to be able to remember them and restore them. The veils have been lifted with people that are, for people that are coming up, that are just beginning their process. They will restore that ability to remember their true multidimensionality and be able to travel. That's why you've heard me say on many occasions recently, I don't know who I am, I don't know where I am, or even when I am, or the equivalent of everything, everywhere, all the time, or all at once, all the time. Those abilities, if you will, those gifts of awareness will be restored with each person that is ready to make the shift. What that's going to look like, I mean, I see crystal cities made of light. That's just what I see.
I see that too, actually. I think there'll be one here, Byron Bay, near in northern New South Wales. I think there'll be a crystal city of light there in Australia, and I've seen them too. I think they're very, very beautiful. In fact, I've gone in meditations under the ocean, and there are crystal cities under the ocean as well.
Of course,
Yeah, that you can connect to, that I've been to, and I really resonate with crystals. So yeah, I very much see them as well. What else do you see that's beautiful that's coming with the golden age?
people living joyfully
Mm,
and in harmony with each other.
mm. Might that be beautiful?
No aggression, no greed. Even with all the people that are on the planet now, there's more than enough food and air and water for everybody. It's just the misappropriation of distribution that is going on because of greed.
Mm.
And all of those kinds of lower states of consciousness, you cannot take them with you. You cannot bring them into this new age. They have to all be let go of. Actually, you have to let go of everything, as I mentioned earlier. Even that precious little ego, which doesn't really exist.
Yes. At the core of greed, there's really only two things, aren't there? Love and fear. At the core of greed is fear. So it's a fear of not being able to survive if you don't have enough, isn't it?
That is, greed is attempting to fill um, the spiritual hole
Mm,
because you're not connected.
yeah,
It's attempting to fill it with stuff.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how much stuff you have, it will never be enough.
It's like, these people that are to shopping, they'll buy something and there'll be that initial high for a short period of time where they feel this, adrenaline rush, but then it dissipates, it goes away. And actually, each time you do that, it drops lower each time you've done it, and it's gone away. That feeling, it will drop to a lower frequency and drop lower and lower because it it's like a downward spiral because it's not fulfilling the what you're really wanting to fulfill, which is your divine connection.
And
And so the addictions get stronger because each time it gets more intense as you realize that you can't feel that empty hole with that addictive process of whatever it is, whether it's eating too much food, it's drinking too much.
you can't fill your soul with stuff. It's not going to work. And that has nothing to do with having stuff. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy or even extremely wealthy. There's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. We are divine beings, and we're here having experiences. We're here to experience what this is. There's nothing wrong with having a really nice house. There's nothing wrong with having a really nice car. There's nothing wrong with having a wonderful life that you enjoy yourself and that you can go take vacations and visit places and everything else. There's nothing wrong with that. What is your inner orientation?
So the more you have, the more you can help others too.
If that's what you're here to do. Personally, I you've seen the kind of work that I do. I love to share the classes, and I still want to travel almost everywhere in the world at the same time.
Yeah. Where do you
So
most want to travel to?
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess not just on the planet, but everywhere.
So that part's already taken care of. So
Yes. Yeah.
when I was in Africa 9 times last year, I got really serious COVID, and over the course of 3 weeks, I died 9 times. And from my perspective, from a lot of my friends' perspective, they thought I was going and they were holding on to me. And from my perspective, I'd had all of those veils removed while I was before that, and I was just traveling. I was like a kid in a candy store. It's like, oh, I can go here. Oh, I can vacation there. Okay, cool.
So how is that experience of virtually dying 9 times? How has that changed who you are now in terms of your how you are as a soul?
We all know lots of people have had near-death experiences on the planet. And when you die and you come back, a layer to whatever you're able to do, because it's individualistic, but a layer of your conditioning lets go.
Mm,
It completely dissolves, and that space fills with the energy of your soul,
mm.
and it's everything is now more spacious. because it's like you took out all of the garbage that you haven't been paying attention to, or you dropped 5 or 6 suitcases of luggage that you've been carrying around with you, and you just let go of them, and all of a sudden everything is more spacious, it's more easy. Some people have more different experiences, but that's what mine was like.
That's fascinating. Wow. So it's been so beautiful to chat with you, David. Thank you so much for your time and your beautiful wisdom. I would love to, encourage people to join your free session, which, you've kindly offered that's coming up.
We actually have 2 of them. I rescheduled some more. So there is one coming up on the 28th and the 29th in Australia. It begins at 10 a.m. Australian time, and
29th
that's
of April. Yep.
and then there's another one the next week on May 5th and 6th, May 6th in Australia.
Yep.
It's again at 10 a.m. Australian time, or 4 in the afternoon Pacific. And then there is and that's completely free. However it works out, it's approximate. It's going to be either 9 or 10 or 11, somewhere in there. When you sign up, it'll automatically detect the time zone that you're in, so it'll give you the correct information.
Lovely. Lovely.
And then additionally, the next Freedom from the Known course designed for Australia is on May 19th, which
Yeah, it's
will
on the
be
19th.
the 20th Australia.
Okay, beautiful.
And I've made it available so that it uses the currency exchange rate of the Australian dollar. What do you call your dollar?
Um,
Is it a dollar?
the Australian dollar, yeah, just a dollar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it matches the exchange rate to the US. Normally here in the US or other places, the course is 777, but I made an arrangement with you and other people to make it based on the Australian exchange rate. So it's 555.
Okay, beautiful.
And that's for 11 weeks.
Okay, lovely. So just putting it out there to people that this course is available for you and you can experience David in either of these free sessions coming up. And these free sessions coming up, that they will have a level of healing, won't they, David, when people experience them?
I call them quantum holding rather than quantum healing, simply because no matter how broken you think you might be or that you are, you're not. Everybody is already whole. And as people align themselves, and by align themselves, I mean you align your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies, and you shed all of the layers of stuff that's going on, you discover that those conditions, whatever they might be, that we think we need to be healed from, they begin to dissipate or disappear. There is no condition on the planet that cannot be dealt with and removed through consciousness. It's and I say that ironically because I'm having eye surgery tomorrow for cataracts, and I've been working on them, but they just they're hanging on. So
Well, I had a comment once from somebody that said, "Oh, how can you be a complete healer when you wear glasses?" So anyway, we do our best, but we're all working on things, aren't we?
well, I'm very definitely a seer. I see very very deeply, and I've always been nearsighted.
Yeah.
Um, ever since I was really young, I don't have to wear glasses to talk with you like this. Um, but what, I think in the ninth grade was when I first got glasses because I was flunking. And the only reason that I was flunking was they moved me from the front row of the room to the back row, and I couldn't see anything.
Oh, that's no good.
As
No,
soon as I got glasses, then my grades went up again.
sure. Sure. Oh, well, it's been beautiful to talk with you, David. I always go into a very still, peaceful space when I'm connecting with you. And thank you so much also for the wonderful course that I've been part of, and that I've had, members of my community really get so much out of as well. And thank you for your gifts that you're sharing with the planet Earth at this time, and with humanity. It's beautiful. Thank you.
And thank you for your joyful self.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. It's been wonderful. So I'll leave all the information below if people want to get on board and join these free sessions, or even just join up straight away for the 11-week course with David. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm sending love out there to you all, and presents. And hopefully we'll see some of you in these free sessions that are coming up.
And if you sign up, tell your friends that's why I offer them, so that people have the opportunity to experience at a deeper level something they might not. You never know. You may just come there just like I used to go to listen to people, just to be in presence with everybody. So thank you for everybody that's going to be watching, and I look forward to being with you in person.
Beautiful. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Medina.